Guys, let's revise Ind AS 116 quickly through the charts. Okay, first we saw recognition exemption.
Yes.
Two components or two features get two types of lease get recognition exemption. One is short-term lease, another one is low-value assets.
Yeah.
Short-term lease means what? The term of the lease should be less than or equal to 12 months. Correct? And two, there should not be any option to purchase the asset. Correct?
Yeah.
These two. And the lease term calculation should be from the lease commencement date.
Yeah.
Okay? And subsequent reduction of the lease term will not affect. Initially, the lease term was 3 years. Later, you reduced it. That cannot be used. That cannot be taken under short-term lease exemption. Correct?
Right.
Then we saw low-value assets, LVA. Low-value assets means first you have to satisfy those assets which can be used independently on its own. Correct? Or with the existing resources of the lessee, and should not be highly integrated or interdependent on each other. And this lease captures those assets which are high in volume but low in value. Correct? But to take exemption, you should not sublease. Correct? That's what we learned. Okay, so next we saw if recognition exemption is taken, then what you can do? Should you have to do, let's say you have to do a whole lot of accounting, or they will just recognize lease payment as an expense. Correct?
Yeah.
On a straight line basis or any other systematic basis, it will be transferred off to PRL.
Yeah.
Lease we saw. Then we saw lease. Lease is a contract, or it is a part of the contract which has 4 characteristics. One, right to control the use of identifiable assets. Correct? For a certain period of time, which we call it as lease term. In return for a consideration, which we call it as lease payment. So these are your features of lease. Correct? Then we saw SSR, supplier substitution or supplier substantive substitution rights. Correct? If supplier has SSR, then there is no lease accounting because customer does not have RTC of identifiable assets. Correct? No? Fine. And we can say supplier has SSR provided 2 features are satisfied. One, you must have the practical ability to substitute throughout the period of use. Correct? And it is beneficial for him to substitute. Correct? But substituting after a particular point of time, like after 1 year or 2 years, or if some particular event happens like breakdown, that is not SSR. Then no. Alright. And if you are not sure about supplier's SSR, then we always assume that supplier does not have SSR. Meaning customer has identified assets. Meaning he has RTC of identified assets. Correct?
Yeah.
Alright. Next, we saw identified assets. Identified assets means it needs to be, any asset is identified provided it is physically distinct. Is it necessary whole asset should be distinct or even part can be distinct? Even a part of the asset can be distinct. If there are one asset and many users, then you have to check which entity or which guy is using the asset at substantial capacity. That is 95% or more. Correct?
Yeah.
And which guy is getting that substantially all the benefits. For that guy, it will be identified asset, and for that guy, it will be lease. For others, not a lease. Supply arrangement. Yes?
Yeah.
Then we saw right to control. Right to control means 2 features. Lessee should have the right to direct its use. Correct? No, how and for what purpose and all it should be utilized. And he should get all the benefits directly by using it or indirectly by subleasing it. Correct? Okay, if supplier has any protective rights, then customer still has RTC. Correct? No. Alright. And if lease payments are based on percentage, if along with lease payment, if you're still giving any percentage of cash flow, still customer has RTC. Okay. If you have many lease components, then what do you need to do? You have to segregate. Correct? Provided that condition satisfied. 2 conditions. That is same as LVA condition, low value asset ka.
Yeah.
Asset should be capable of being used on its own or with resources available with the lessee and should not be highly interrelated or interdependent. Then you can segregate. Segregation will be based on standalone selling price. Correct? If lease also has a non-lease component, then you can use a practical expedient not to separate lease and non-lease component. There's an accounting policy. If you don't exercise this, then separate it. That separation will be based on standalone selling price. First preference of standalone selling price is observable one. If observable standalone selling price is missing, then you take estimated standalone selling price. That how to estimate it? Ind AS 115 gives the guidance. Correct? The 3 methods: adjusted market assessment approach, cost plus margin approach, or residual approach. All those were there anyway in other standard, hence we have left it. Okay? Alright, next. Lease term. Lease term means 3 things. One is non-cancellable term, NCT, plus renewable period. Can you have renewal period every year? No. Only if lessee is reasonably certain that he will renew, then only you add renewable period. Plus termination period. When can you add termination period? When lessee is reasonably sure that he will not exercise this option. Okay, this is your lease term card. Next, we saw cancelable option. If there is any cancelable option, first you need to check who has that option. If option is with the lessor, means lessee can't escape. That means you always add renewal period also. Like 6 years, 10 years example. Remember? If lessee has an option, then you check the intention. If you have intention to renew means you add RP. Otherwise, you don't RP, take only non-cancelable period itself will be lease term. 6 plus 1. Correct? However, any party has option or both the party have an option and penalty is insignificant, then don't add the renewal period. Only take non-cancelable period. Because enforceable rights and obligation end off at 6th year only in our example. Yes? Okay. Next we saw reassessment. Reassessment will come when significant changes happens. Correct? But every change you will consider as reassessment or no? That change should be within your control.
Yes.
Correct? And because of that change, what? Your lease term estimation should have changed. But market factors and all are ignored. Correct? No, because they are not reassessment by themselves unless you act upon it. Like government changes and all. You have to compulsorily act upon it. Like that. That you have to consider. Yes, sir? That was on the reassessment. Next we saw lease payment. Lease payment means 4 things. One is fixed payments. One is in substance fixed payments. Minus lease incentive if any. Correct?
Yeah.
If you have variable lease payment based on index and rate, that also you can add. If you have a purchase option price and if you are reasonably sure that you're going to purchase it, add it. If there's any exit penalty or termination penalty, add it provided you're reasonably sure that you're going to pay penalty and cancel the contract. Meaning you're reasonably certain that you'll exercise that termination option. Correct? But for lessee, even GRV will form part of lease payment. And for lessor, even not only GRV, even UGRV will be considered. Okay, so this is on the lease payment. Next is lease incentive.
No.
Lease incentive means it will go from whom to whom. It will be given from lessor to lessee. These are your cash incentives, one-time cash incentive, moving charges, amount paid to end lessee's existing contract, etc., etc. However, if there is any leasehold improvements, major leasehold improvements, then you have to check who has the control. If lessor has the control, then asset liability accounting. If lessee has the control, which you are reimbursing, means it's a lease incentive. Correct? Oh, yeah. Deduct from lease payment, not add to. Correct? Okay. Lease incentive should be reduced from the lease payment. Yes, no. They have given some examples. Fine. Variable lease payment based on index means what? The index could be consumer price index, LIBOR, or inflation index, etc., etc. They can be part of lease payment. Yeah. But other type of variable payments, like which are not based on index or rate, means they are based on usage or performance. Yeah. Such lease payment should be automatically transferred off where? To PRL. Correct? No. They are like contingent rent. Contingent rent means you remember AS 19 mein this contingent rent was there. If you remember it. Like contingent rent we have written. If at all you remember that. Otherwise it's fine. Okay. No problem. The accounting treatment is same as like that. Don't worry, we cut it off. No issues. Yeah? So are we good with this? Alright. Then 14th we saw discount rate. Which discount rate will we use? Always first priority is lessor ka IRR. Correct? No? If that is missing, then we use lessee ka incremental borrowing rate. And IRR means what? IRR is always from lessor's perspective. IRR is a rate at which present value of lease payment plus present value of UGRV is equal to fair value of the asset plus IDC. Is a rate at which those two gets. It's basically a break-even point. Yeah? And then we saw IDC. Initial direct cost. Initial direct cost means it's a cost directly related to the lease arrangement. Basically incremental cost. If lease is there, this cost is there. Otherwise, this cost will not come. Correct? Then we already know this. In fact, it will come in chart also. Leave. And advertisement, depreciation, amortization and all is not IDC. Because they are not incremental. Whether you have lease or not, they will still come. Correct? No? Accounting treatment, we have made a separate chart. Hence, I will go through it there. Next. Lease accounting, sir. What do you do for lease accounting? Or how do you lease accounting? First, for lessee, you have to recognize two things. ROU and lease liability. Lease liability, how do you calculate? Present value of future lease payments. That's what we have written here. Apply discount rate to lease payments to get present value. Correct? That present value of lease payment itself is nothing but lease liability ka initial measurement. I know. And ROU initially you will measure it at lease liability. But if there is few components means you add. If any payment is made by lessee to lessor before commencement of lease, that you will add to ROU. If there is any IDC, if there is any DSR cost, that also you need to add. So if you add all this, then only it becomes initial cost for ROU. Yes, no? Yes. Then subsequent measurement. Subsequent, how do you measure ROU, sir? First one, ROU can be either you can go for cost model or revaluation model. But generally we will go for cost model only. Generally, yeah. Depreciation of ROU will charge from depreciation will start from commencement date.
Yeah.
If lessee has an option to purchase the asset or lease arrangement automatically transfers the asset to him, then it will start from the commencement date and it will go till the end of the
Right.
useful life of the asset. Correct?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it will start from the commencement date. It will go up
And
till
then,
the lease term or RO useful life, whichever is lower. 5 years,
Lower.
4 years example I told you.
Yeah,
Possible
yeah,
that
yeah.
way. Yes? Okay. Lease liability accounting is as per India's 109. Amortization cost method. ACM table you have to put up.
Yeah.
So effectively, four components will be expense for lessee. One is depreciation on ROU. Then lease liability ka interest or finance charges. And ROU ka impairment also can come.
Yeah,
And if there is any variable lease payment not based on index or rate, but rather based on usage or performance, correct? That will be transferred off to expense as P&L as an expense. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Those. Next, if however lease is in foreign currency, then what do you do? Then you have to convert it, no? Correct?
Yeah.
Then India is 21. That is forex rate will get effective changes in foreign exchange rate. That standard will get triggered.
Yeah.
That standard says you have to check monetary item and non-monetary item. Based on that conversion rate, you have to choose. If it is monetary rate, you have to use closing rate. If it is monetary item. And lease liability is MI. MI under monetary item. Okay. Monetary item means those items whose value is fixed. Non-monetary item means whose value keeps on fluctuating. Here lease liability is fixed now. How much you pay, you clearly know. So it's a monetary item. So that means you have to use closing rate. And any gain or loss due to conversion will go off to PL. Generally, ROU is at cost. Unless the ROU also you can use revaluation model, but generally you value at cost now. That means at that date only you use transaction spot rate and do the accounting. Later on you don't convert. So there will not be any exchange gain or loss. This in detail we will be doing. In days 21 we will take up next. Fine.
Okay.
So no gain or loss will come generally on ROU ka conversion because you don't convert at all. First you convert a transaction spot rate and use the same rate every year. That's all it is. Fine.
Yeah.
Then we saw remeasurement. Remeasurement means RRSGI.
Yeah.
First R is for what? Reassessment of exercise or not exercise of extension or termination option. Second R is for reassessment of purchase option.
Yeah.
S for change in substance fixed payment.
Yes.
Then G for change in residual value. I for change in index or rate. For the first two R's, we use new discount rate because it was with us only. We had an option. The last three rate is out of our scope. Hence, they've given a leeway that you can use old discount rate and remeasure. But when you remeasure, then you get there will be remeasurement gain or loss. That will not be transferred to P&L. That will be adjusted in ROU only. So the journal entry will pass as ROU to LL or LL to ROU. But mostly this entry will come. Hence, we have a sample entry. Fine now.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the remeasurement. Lex modification.
Yeah.
So lease modification means altering two things. One is what? Scope of the lease could be altered or lease payment could be altered. Scope change means more asset came in or asset got reduced or lease term increased or lease term reduced. Price change means either lease payment increased or decreased or payment cut terminology or terms changed. Meaning from beginning, earlier you used to pay at beginning, now you're paying at end or end to beginning like that. Whenever there is a modification, you have to check whether can be accounted as a separate lease or no separate lease. If you have to account as separate lease means two conditions should be satisfied. One, new asset should have come in. One or more asset should have come in. ROU should have come in. Correct? No. And two, the increase in lease payment should be on par or should be in line with standalone selling price. Both the conditions are satisfied means you can account it as separate lease. Separate lease means new accounting.
Yeah.
New accounting you follow. That's it. Okay. It is not a separate lease, but however it is a decrease in scope. If it is a decrease in scope means gain loss compulsorily you need to book. First, you have to find out ROU and lease liability just before the modification date. What is the balance you need to find out? Since there is a decrease in scope, you have to reduce. Proportionately reduce both ROU and LL. Correct?
Yeah.
Any difference is there between that means it goes off to P&L. Because part of the right of control you have lost. So it's like disposal accounting. So hence gain loss go to P&L. Since terms have changed, will your IRR be same or that will also change? Again, remeasure your lease liability with a new discount rate. Correct? Compare it with what? Existing lease liability balance after reduction. Okay? That is your remeasurement gain or loss. That will be adjusted in ROU only. This is for decrease in scope. Yes?
Yeah.
Next, if it is not a separate lease and if it is not a decrease in scope, meaning all other modifications, what do? You do it like remeasurement, but by using new discount rate. So find out lease liability as per new discount rate. Compare it with existing balance as per the old rate. Correct? No? Existing balance means old rate only. Yes?
Yeah.
The difference will be adjusted in ROU itself by passing this entry. Yeah? That is for the modification. Yes?
Yeah.
Then we went into lesser accounting.
Yeah.
Lessor ka the main funda is first he has to find out whether it's a finance lease or operating lease. Finance lease means risk and reward transferred. Operating lease means risk and reward not yet transferred. There are certain indicators, or rather here they've given it. How do you, in finance lease, what are the things you will do? One, you recognize, first you de-recognize asset. Then you recognize net investment. If there is any IDC cost, then it has to be, you can't capitalize because asset is not there. That means you add it to net investment wala calculations. Consider there. Yes, no. And how do you get gross investment, sir? Gross investment is nothing but lease rental, that is lease payment, plus GRV plus UGRV. Actually, lease rental will include this. Correct? No. Lease payment is nothing but what? Normal lease payment plus GRV portion. Yeah. How do you get net investment? Gross investment is at full value. Net investment is the present value of that. Yes.
Don't you have to add NA to that?
Come again?
Don't you have to add NA to that?
Which one?
IDC also you have to add also.
No, the calculation I'm not saying, sir. Calculation you consider. I'm saying after that. Fine. After that. Okay, here you mean to say, here you can add it up, yes. But here there's a plain equation. Ignoring IDC, I've given an equation there. That's all. Fine now. Specific adjustment, you take it. No problem. Fine now. On derecognition, you have to derecognize asset and show net investment. There'll be a difference. That difference will be transferred off to P or L. Correct? Alright. Next, how do you find out whether it's a finance lease? 5 characteristics. 1. Present value of lease payment equates fair value of the asset. Lease term approximates life of the asset. Correct? Third option, we have an option to purchase the asset at a price lower than the market price. And fourth one, automatically ownership is transferred to lessee without paying any price. Or asset is of specialized nature that only lessee can use without making any major modification. Fine, no. These are the 5 characteristics. Check for the indicators and accordingly conclude. If it is operating lease, however, then the lease rental will be transferred off to P&L on a straight line or systematic basis. Okay. Alright. And if there is any IDC here,
that also will.
IDC will be added what? To IDC will be added to PP. IDC will be added to PP cost and depreciated on the same basis as lease rental. It is there in the chart anyways. My next chart will come. Okay. Just told. Land and building. Land and building is a separate lease. Correct. So you have to separate, keeping what as a basis? Based on fair value. If you can't segregate because fair value is not determinable means what? Treat it as one component. And then one component of lease, how will you categorize? Based on building. If building is what? Operating lease, then whole lease will be operating lease. If building is finance lease means whole component will be finance lease, like that. And if the land value is immaterial means what do you do? Then also you treat it as one lease component only. Fair enough. Building's life is taken into account for depreciation. If it is operating lease, you'll have to show, no? Yeah. Then you take that building ka life, you keep into consideration for your depreciation per se. That's all. Okay. Alright. Then we went to sublease. Sublease means 3 parties will be there. Lessor, lessee and lessee. Correct? This guy is the original lessor. And this treatment, this original lease, we call it as head lease. For original lessor, normal accounting will follow. Whatever he was doing, he'll continue with this. For this original lessee, or also known as intermediate lessor or sub-lessor, what we have to do? Initially, he has to, when he get into this lease, he has to recognize ROU and lease liability, correct? But on sublease, he has to check whether that sublease is a finance lease or it is an operating lease. If it is a sublease, he has to de-recognize ROU and recognize it as a net investment. If there is any difference between these two, it will be transferred off to P or L. Correct? And then lease liability will still continue. That means on net investment, he'll recognize finance income. On lease liability, he'll recognize finance charges. Both will come. Got it? Suppose sublease is a operating lease, then ROU will continue. Lease liability will continue. Depreciation on ROU will continue. Finance charges on lease liability will continue. But the rental income that you have received, you will transfer to P&L on a on SLM or systematic basis. Yes, sir. Same thing we told in today's class also, correct?
Part of that is sublease.
One moment. We'll finish off this quickly, okay? Next is sale and leaseback. Sale and leaseback. Sale and leaseback. First, we have to check whether it is a sale or not a sale. Correct? Sale means what? Then you have some steps 1 to 10, and all this drama will only be for lessee. Lessor is okay. Yes, lessor ka things are fine. Yes. So first step we wrote additional finance. How do you get additional finance? Sales minus fair value. I've given the steps again for additional finance only. Okay. Sales minus fair value. Second, we find out fair value of payments. But in that payment, part of it will be related to additional finance also. So first you have to find out present value of payments related to additional finance. Correct? No. For that we had a formula OP, AAP. How much of the annual payments is related to additional finance? We said up AAP, correct? AAP is now, first A is for annual lease payment multiplied by additional finance divided by P. That is the total present value. Next, we have to find out ROU. How do you find out ROU? Not like a normal method, but by keeping carrying amount into mind. Hence, the formula here was what? LCF. Correct? L is for present value of lease payments only. C for carrying amount divided by F. That is fair value. Yes, so far. Then we have to find out gain on rights transferred. First, find total gain. Total gain is nothing but fair value minus carrying amount. Next, we have to find out gain on right retained. Gain on right retained is LGF. Lease value, present value of lease payments multiplied by total gain divided by total fair value. So that will give you gain on right retained. But we want what? Right on gain transferred. So total gain minus gain on right retained will be gain on right transferred. That's all. And then you have to pass one journal entry. Bank account debit, ROU account debit, to asset, to lease liability, to gain or loss. And if there's any additional finance, credit that also. If there is any prepaid, debit that. I know that is what we saw. How about sale and lease back for lessor? He has to show the asset at fair value. But is he paying fair value or more than fair value? That difference will be recorded as additional finance. Additional finance given by him, which is a financial asset for him. Correct? No. And that financial asset you have to do ACM accounting. As simple as that. Okay. Next, we had IDC ka separate chart. If IDC is incurred by lessee, lessee will add it to the cost of the asset. Cost of asset means for him ROU. However, if IDC is paid by lessor and it is a finance lease, means it will be considered as part of net investment wala calculation. Correct? Net investment we call it as receivable, no? That calculation. Yes. However, if IDC is incurred by lessor on operating lease, means that IDC is added to the cost of the asset and depreciated on straight line or any other basis like lease payment. Whatever you do for lease payment, same thing you have to do for this also. Yes. Okay. Then we saw finance lease for manufacturer or dealer lessor. The main difference is the dealer lessor should book it as a revenue. Accounting, I have showed you morning class only. Profit is the same. But in case of other lessors, you book it as other income. Here you have to book it as a revenue. Correct? No. So for this, we have to do some steps. First, you have to record sales. Sale will be recorded lower of two things. Fair value or present value of lease payments. Whichever is lower. Correct? And you have to recognize cost of sale. Cost of sale will be at cost of the product minus present value of UGRV. Okay. Net investment will be same. Present value of what? Lease payment plus present value of UGRV. Yes. Asset can you show or asset you have to de-recognize? Asset you have to de-recognize. Yes, no. The difference between the sale value and cost of sale is a selling profit for manufacturer or dealer lessor. Yes. And if there is any IDC incurred by manufacturer or dealer lessor, it can't be capitalized. It should be always going into P&L because it is related to his sales activity. So it is like selling expense. So IDC will never get capitalized. It will not be considered in your net investment, nor it will be added to your asset. It will always go to P&L because it is selling expense. Fine, because you are doing normal trading activity here, no? So it will be treated like selling expense and transferred off to P&L. Yes, sir. Alright, so this is what we saw. So with this, summary chart is also over. Thank you.